Hey guys, welcome to the latest battle report for Geeks 40k channel. Today we are at Warhammer World for a 2-day event called Warhammermania, which has been organised by Martin from Wargames YouTube channel. So today we are taking on Martin and his dirty Dark Eldar. So for the Space Marines, we have level 2 Psychic Librarian. We also have the Tech Marine with a conversion beamer, who is today's Warlord choice for Robin. We have a 3-man Centurion squad. The sergeant in the middle has a Grav Cannon Grav Amp. 2 troop choices for Robin. Both 5-man combat squads, both with Razorbacks, transports. We have his Ironclad Dreadnought there. We also have a 7-man Stern Guard squad. It's difficult to say, that is. One of there's got a Grav Gun in there. We also have an allied detachment of Space Wolves. So in here we have Herald Deathwolf, a 5-man combat squad of Grey Hunters, one guy in there with a Power Fist. We also have 3 Thunderwolf Cavalry. So in here they all have Storm Shields and one has a Thunderhammer. There is a Space Wolf drop pod, and there is also my Stormwolf Flyer. Now, my drop pod I will probably give to my Battle Brothers, the Iron Hands. So there is our 1,875 point force that's going to be taking on the Dark Eldar today. Let's see who comes out victorious.
Hi guys, so Martin here. Kindly being accepted a game against the Geeks here, so I'll run you through my 1875 Dark Eldar Real Space Detachment. So it's a fast-hitting, arrived from the Webway portal army. I'll run you through. So coming in from the back, we've got 2 Ravagers at the back there, both armed with 3 Dark Lancers and Night Shields. There are then 4 Venoms in total. The 2 to the left-hand side there both got 5 Cabalite Warriors in them, just stocked with splinter rifles. There's an empty one at the back, which is the dedicated transport to the Incubi, who are actually hitching a ride along with the Archon in a Venom, and there's a Clavex in that unit. Archon has a Husk Blade, a Shadow Field, a Soul Trap, plus he's got the Helm Spite. All the Venoms have got upgraded to a second Splinter Cannon. Coming across to the fast attack units, there are 4 units of 9 Reaver jet bikes. Each unit of 9 is armed with 3 cluster caltrops for some nasty hammer of wrathing. And then as we go closer in there, we've got a unit of 5 Scourgers with 4 Haywire Blasters and a Shard Carbine. And then up the top there is the Razor Wing Jet Fighter, which is just stock out of the book. Only upgrades to it are the 2 Dark Lancers and a Splinter Cannon, but the missiles are standard, and it does also have Night Shields. And that, guys, is my 1875 points, so let's see how we get on.
Deployment for the Space Wolves and the Iron Hands today. On this side of the board we have got the Thunderwolf Cavalry and Herald Deathwolf on the side of the building waiting to charge down the field. Inside of the building, smashing his way through, we have the Ironclad Dreadnought supported by the squad of 5 Grey Hunters. We have Twin Las Cannon Razorback and the tactical squad inside, hunkered down around the back of the building for some cover. The middle of the battlefield's quite empty today, so we're hunkering down on our flanks. Over this side of the building we have another tactical squad inside the building. We also have the Tech Priest there with a conversion beamer. His Warlord trait today gives him 1 extra to feel no pain. We've also got the other Razorback with the Twin Linked Heavy Bolters and the Centurions on this side of the board over here. Psychic powers for today, we have got Forewarning, Foreboding and Prescience. So for the Dark Eldar, as you can probably tell, there's a lot of jet bikes there. I think it's about 36 in total, so there's 4 squads of 9. So they are all on the front line. Mixed in with them, we have some Venom. Well, I think there's 4 Venoms in here. There's 2 there, and then there's 2 here. One of them is empty, but the other 2 at the front have got the Carabites in, and the other one has got the Incubis in. And on the back of the board, behind the buildings, we have the Raiders. So it's Dark Eldar turn 1. It's Dark Eldar to go first. So let's see how fast these guys actually are. The jet bikes have zoomed up the table. They're full distance. That's a scary looking gun line. When you look there, 2-3 ranks deep of these jet bikes hurtling towards your lines, supported by a couple of Venoms. That's quite worrying. They're now not that far off the Space Marines lines. Interesting to see how that plays out. Up here in this building, one of the Raiders hunkered down, getting ready to fire on the opposite side of the board. We have the other Raider zooming around the back of that building down the left-hand side of the flank, heading down towards the Space Wolves and the Ironclad Dreadnought. The Ravager on this side of the board has opened fire on the Dreadnought down here, bouncing off his armour. Now, combined fire from all of the jet bikes on this side of the board and that Venom opened up on my Space Wolves, killing 2 of my Thunderwolf cavalry and take my Thunderhammer guy down to 1 wound. Up on top of the building, my Grey Hunters have been whittled down to 2 remaining guys. The others have fallen to the poison shots of the Dark Eldar, but I've managed to rally them, so that's good. They're standing firm, holding on to that high ground, trying to get some shots off. Over this side of the board, the Venoms and the bikes that could see opened up on the Centurions, pummeling them with shots. The shots are bouncing off the fallen Imperial statue. Managed to take the Centurion down, the lead Centurion down to 1 wound. So at the end of the Dark Eldar phase, they have thrusted up 2d6. These guys are right on us now. These 2 squads are right in front of the Centurions. Scarily enough, these guys have turbo boosted because they didn't shoot, and they are literally at the end of turn 1 and they're on the back of the board. They're in your lines, up and on you. The warp opened up, they come piling through. And Iron Hands and Space Wolves taken by surprise. These guys over here have thrusted 2d6 backwards, moving away from the Thunderwolf cavalry. It's a bit of a shame because I really wanted to get into assault with them. Reinforcements have arrived on the first turn via the drop pod from the low orbiting ship up in space. The Stern Guard and the Librarian have jumped out, looking to flame the Venoms that are at the back of the board. Round here, the Dreadnought has smashed his way through the building. He's slightly angry now. He's heading up towards the bikers. He's being accompanied by 2 Thunderwolf cavalry. They're going to try and charge in with him as well. The 2 remaining Grey Hunters that are on this building have jumped down the level, getting well within rapid fire range of these guys here as well, so hopefully we'll be able to take out quite a few of these bikes shortly. The Razorback at the back of our table edge has stayed still. Over here, the Centurions pretty much stay still. The 1 Razorback has moved round with the heavy bolters on, ready to open up on the bikes that are trying to sneak their way around the side of the building. Over here, the Tet Priest has stayed still, and the tactical squad have started to jump down the building, so we are really nice and close up to these jet bikes now. Because it is night fighting, the jink on the Dark Eldar is a 2 up, so literally down here the Razorback and the tactical squad open up on these guys at the back of the board. I'm being quite cheeky and zooming round, but with the 2 up jinks they managed to make all of their saves. Over here the other Razorback opened fire on the other jet bikes, again managed to jink. The conversion beamer off the Tech Priest, which is inside this building, opened fire all the way back here on the Ravager, hit it, managed to take off a hull point. Down here, the Stern Guard and the Librarian, who had jumped out of the drop pod, basically completely and utterly whiffed everything. They managed to take 1 hull point off the Venom. The Librarian managed to get no psychic powers off whatsoever. Yeah, that wasn't very effective. What was quite effective is there's a big hole there in the middle of the board where one of the jet bike squads have been completely and utterly wiped out. Combination of fire between the Centurions, the Ironclad Dreadnought and the two remaining Grey Hunters, who actually killed one of the jet bikes on the road. Open fire on that squad, wiping them out, annihilating them completely, giving us first blood. The tactical squad that are now back inside the building jumped down in the movement phase, opened fire and then assaulted these guys here, killing one and taking no wounds themselves. So they've consolidated back up into the building, luckily, to get the cover back. However, the jet bikes over here, who lost one, passed their leadership and have done a hit and run, so they have moved across the board, heading down towards the Razorback, who's seeking some shelter behind that building. However, the jet bikes have now fallen upon him. The Ravager has moved around a little bit, trying to get a bit more of a shot on at the Wolves and the Dreadnoughts. Venom has also done the same. Round here, the jet bikes have come round the side of the building, falling upon the Stern Guard, but also the Incubi and the Arculus have jumped out of the Venom there, so that they are there now ready to punish the Librarian and the Stern Guard for coming out of their drop pod. Round the far side of the board round here, we have got the jet bikes now come round onto the back of the Razorback. Over here, again, the other squad of jet bikes have kind of swarmed around the Centurions, ready to punish these. And the Scourers have come on, deep strikes in and hit, so they are slap bang in the middle of the board. It's looking daunting for the Space Marines already. They have been fallen upon. How fast these Dark Eldar are is scary. They literally thump their way out of the warp and take you by surprise. So let's see how much damage they can do with their shooting. Over here, the Stern Guards took a lot of firepower from the guys that jumped out of the Venom and the bike squad behind, and basically I think we lost two Iron Hands in the end when we managed to save a lot of it. Unfortunately, down here, the Ironclad Dreadnought fell down to the haywire shots from these guys. I managed to lose a Wolf from here, and my Herald Deathwolf had 4 wounds, and I rolled 3 ones, so we lost all wounds in 1 round of shooting. But I've still got 2 Grey Hunters left. That's always good. That was a painful roll. I can't believe I actually managed to lose that guy with 3 ones in a roll. Over this side, the jet bikes opened fire onto the Centurions. Robin managed to save them all. The destroyed Ravager is sitting up here on top of the building. Opened fire at the Razorback, immobilising it and taking off 2 hull points. So that is shooting a hell of a lot of firepower down here. But luckily the Iron Hands are standing firm. The Stern Guard have been completely and utterly wiped out. Just weight of numbers with the jet bikes in there as well. Completely killed the Stern Guard and the Librarian that was in there. Not a fat lot they could do back. So that is the middle of the board completely and utterly free. Over here, the Razorback that was hiding behind the rear of the building got smashed out of the way by these jet bikes. So that is gone. So again, another big hole there. So literally holding this flank now are the 2 Grey Hunters that are alone on top of that building. Down here, the Centurions were assaulted by the other squad of jet bikes. However, it has been drawn combat down here. So they have decided to stay in combat and not hit and run, to not give the Centurions a chance to fire. It's probably a good call. The tactical squad have jumped out of the immobilised Razorback. They were sitting in there getting some cover, but they've popped out. They are now looking down this. Also, my Stormwolf Flyer is on. Some much needed reserves for the Space Marines and the Space Wolves here. Obviously, Hellfrost Cannon, Twin Inlas Cannons, Heavy Bolters staring down at the jet bikes here. And I've obviously got this squad quite close as well. Lack of anything up this side of the board. We really have to try and consolidate and fortify this back end of the board, because these guys are screaming down at us on their bikes very quickly. The jet bikes down here were opened fire on by the Tech Priest in here with his blast, killing 2 of them. Down here, The guys in the middle that are deep striked in had lots of fire thrown at them. They were fired upon by the tactical squad down here. They were fired upon by the Grey Hunters. They had a whole frost cannon, which immediately scattered. But overall, we killed 3 of them. The heavy bolters and the las cannons and the Stormwolf opened up on the bikes down here, killing 2 of these down here. The Stormbolter from the drop pod opened fire as well on these bikes, unfortunately not wounded. So we've taken a few more of the Dark Eldar off, but they are now screaming towards us even faster. Assault for the Space Marines down here, basically. The Centurions and the Eldar basically didn't hit or cause any wounds down here, but they have stayed locked in combat. So that's an interesting one now. That's tying up the Centurions and all that. The Grav and the heavy bolters, gunfire that we really need to lay down, are tied up in combat. The Razor Wing is on from reserve. It's come off on the back of the board. So another vehicle for us to have to deal with now. That is screaming down the battlefield. The bikes have moved up. The Venoms from around the back there, the passengers have jumped back in, hitching a ride, heading up the board. These guys managed to rally and have moved up as well with their haywire shots. We've also got the jet bikes moving up the middle of the board. Round here, the jet bikes have moved up the building and up the top. I think Martin might be determined to get rid of them 2 Grey Hunters that are there, holding that building, holding that line as much as they can. Think they might be in trouble. The Stormwolf Flyer has gone. He was hit very heavily by the haywire shots from these guys here. He crashed and burnt and just literally fell out of the sky where he was standing. Back over here, the jet bikes opened fire on the Grey Hunters, and I think they got 6 wounds, but I managed to save every single one of them. Luckily, I managed to save them and not save my flyer. Down here, the tactical squad in this building, they're down to 1 man. They have had a lot of shots. I think there was about 4 of them killed off in that one. So the squad down here has lost 2. Also, the Razorback has been destroyed. So at the moment, the victory points are stacking up in the Dark Eldar's favour. The guys down here, the jet bikes, made it into assault and just wiped out the 2 Grey Hunters quite easily, quite clean and quite quick. So they snuck up behind them and slit their throats on their jet bikes. Down here, the Centurions managed to take no extra wounds, but also managed to kill a jet bike. However, they passed their morale check, so they are still locked in combat 2 turns later. The only thing that really moved for the Iron Hands is this squad of tactical marines. They are heading up towards this Venom. An impression they're going to try and shoot out the sky, and if they can't, they're going to go in and thump it as hard as they can. The Tech Priest in here with this conversion beam that opened up at the Ravager that's on top of that building over there, hit it. However, it was jinked. Down here, 3 remaining tactical squads. Guys, open up on the Venom, hitting it. Again, jinked. So that is it for shooting, so it's now going to be over to assault. The 2 guys here made it into combat using their crack grenades. Only managing to take off 1 hull point, so that Venom is still there. No victory point given up. Round here, the jet bikes won combat, managed to kill a Centurion as well, so the Centurions are down to 2. They hit and run, and they have headed back over here, heading towards the edge of the board, fortifying and basically encircling the remaining Iron Hands at the back of the board. They are surrounded, they are pinned in the building. What can they do to try and escape? The Dark Eldar jet bikes and Venoms have fortified their position. They are encircling the 2 remaining Centurions. Around here in this building where the Tech Priest and the 1 remaining tactical guy are, they are looking up through the gaps in the floor and seeing the jet bikes coming hurtling down towards them. Will we be able to survive to the end of this turn? I'm going to say not, but let's give it a go. The drop pod has lost a hull point. He's going for a real table here, so the 2 Ravagers have opened fire and it only took them 1 hull point off, so that is going to be brilliant. It'll still be there by the end of the game. Over here, the remaining tactical marines have gone. They fell down from fire. The Centurions have also fallen. Not really surprising when you look at what we're shooting at them. Pretty much everything over here shot them. Unfortunately also Robin's Tech Priest, his Warlord, has fallen from the shots from above. So literally now for the Iron Hands, there's him, who's going to get assaulted. So will he survive the assault, or will he be dragged down? Can he take a last stand? The tactical marine has fallen from the jet bikes from above who made it into combat. So that is it. We are going to call that game. The Space Wolves and the Iron Hands are now being dragged back towards the walk, where they are going to suffer torture and pain like they've never known before. That was a really good game, guys. Really enjoyed that one. Check out Wargames' YouTube channel if you haven't already. Give the guy a sub. Have a look at his other videos. Some really good stuff on there for us. As always, guys, give us a like if you like. Comment in the boxes below. Love to hear your feedback about this beautiful painted up Dark Eldar army. And subscribe if you haven't done it already. See you guys soon.